So recently I became involved in a BB-8 exhibition, which was a charity exhibition organised by a charity called Force for Change. The brief we were given was to create a BB-8 that promoted Britishness. So what I came up with was this, which is a Steampunk BB-8. So obviously he's steam powered and he's got his moustache and top hat and pipe and all that sort of stuff. Now I was one of 60 people who were invited to take part in this, and what they did was to send us a blank model of BB-8, so it's just a sort of a white resin there. It's a really nice cast actually, so I'm quite curious how they did it. I suspect it might have been 3D printed initially and then cast up afterwards, because the lines on it are very tight and there was a lot of detail in it, so it took quite a long time to actually paint this up and get it looking as the way I wanted it to. As you can see, it's also painted in Union Jack colours, just to try and promote Britishness, as the brief said. Now I'm sure you remember from the film, but one of the funniest moments is when BB-8 does his thumbs up with the sort of lighter arm that he has. So I kind of thought I've got to do something like that. So as you can see, the arm's holding a match, which he's going to be lighting his pipe with. This was actually a bit of a tricky thing to do. The arm itself is made out of soldered brass. Some of my previous videos deal with soldering, so look back at those if you're interested in how that's done. But I wanted to have the hatch open, and it's actually a solid model, so it was a little bit nerve-wracking. What I actually had to do was to take a Dremel multi-tool and actually drill into the model and grind away the area where the door would be open. I then filled it with all mechanical detailing to make it look like there was some internal mechanisms going on. I also needed to create the door that was open as well, and this was one solid model, so I didn't have anything that I could use for that, so I had to create it from scratch. So what I did was to put some paper over the model before I started grinding into it, and to rub a pencil over it, and that just gave me an impression of the basic shape. What I did then was to melt some styrene plastic, just enough to press over the shape of the body to get the curve. I then cut out the rubbing that I'd made and used that shape to cut out a piece of plastic that would act as a door. The other bits and pieces that he's wearing are made out of styrene plastic and bits of brass that I've bent to shape and soldered together. It's all then painted with acrylic paints, and I've just given it a wash of oil paints to give it a bit of weathering. Now the exhibition was held over a few days in London. I should have shot some video of it really, but I forgot, but here are some stills anyway. It was quite a nice little thing really. There were about, as I mentioned, there were 60 artists involved in this, and everybody came up with just completely different, unique versions of what a British BB-8 might look like. It actually reminded me of an exhibition of Darth Vader helmets I'd seen a few years back in the Star Wars Celebration, which was held in the Excel Centre in London. Here's some pictures of that as well. As you can see, there's some incredibly varied takes on what Darth Vader could look like. And so it was really interesting to see what people had come up with. Now I'm sure it's entirely accidental, but it actually turned out that my BB-8 was next to Mark Hamill's and John Boyega's, which you can see some pictures of here. Now whether Mark Hamill and John Boyega actually made these themselves, I'll let you be the judge. Nevertheless, it was kind of cool to be in such company. As you may have noticed, they've actually left the arm off of my BB-8, which is a little bit annoying. I suspect they may have done so because it sort of protruded over the edge of the shelf that it was sitting on, so I guess they thought maybe it might have caught on someone as they walked past. The models were eventually auctioned off for charity, and I received a note saying that the whole exhibition actually fetched over £28,000 for charity, which was pretty amazing really. But it's quite a nice little event to be involved in, and I did enjoy doing a Steampunk BB-8. Obviously I don't have it anymore, it's been auctioned off, but it would be quite fun to do another one for myself, I think. Thanks very much for watching. I'll be posting more videos on future projects, so please do subscribe if you'd like to keep up with what's going on. You can also find out more on my website, which is www.thedarkpower.com, or you can follow me on my Facebook page. Just search for The Dark Power.